Good evening, I'm Kyle Clark.
And I'm Jennifer Meckles. Tonight, police in Aurora are investigating after a shooting near a playground sent 2 boys to the hospital. This happened along East Ford in Aurora just after 4 o'clock today. That's not far from Mississippi and Peoria.
9 News reporter Rachel Krause joins us from police headquarters. And Rachel, what have you learned?
Yeah, Kyle, earlier today we watched as police carrying rifles shouted, "Come out with your hands up," directing 3 people out of an apartment and onto the ground before cuffing and leading them away. Now, Aurora police tell us that multiple people have been detained in the shooting from this afternoon that left 2 boys hurt.
Yeah, that was scary. Yeah.
Stephen Baranco and his family were inside their home when suddenly shots rang out.
Yeah, I was in the living room when one bullet actually hit the back door of my house. I got some glass hit on me, but besides that, yeah.
He ran to check on his niece, making sure she was okay before heading outside. Aurora police say 2 boys, a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old, had been shot.
The ambulance were taking care of the kids that got shot, and then the police started making us back up, and they started going around the houses, checking if they could find the people. Yeah, and then they found them in a house. They were there for maybe 40 minutes at a stalemate.
Police outside with rifles, shouting at those inside an apartment to come out. After a tense 30 minutes, 3 young people came out.
Thankfully, they came out calmly. They didn't try to fight back or anything.
Police quickly handcuffing all 3, leading them away. All 3 appeared to be teenagers.
Yeah, they were. They all look under 18, 17. The people who got shot, they're all young.
Aurora police say at least 4 young people appear to be involved. They detained several people but said no one had been arrested. Police haven't yet said what led up to the shooting, only that they believe the 2 victims knew the shooters. Still, Baranco says a shooting so close to his home worries him.
Just knowing that people could just shoot here now and I don't know, it's unsettling, really.
Both boys are expected to survive their injuries. Aurora Police's investigation into the shooting, including what led up to it, is ongoing. Reporting live in Aurora, Rachel Krause, 9 News.
We're now in the final hours of spring. Sure looked like it, even felt like it today. We had cooler weather and some spotty showers, but we officially kick off summer tomorrow with a big warm-up.
Yeah, somebody's going to say, Lauren, well, it felt like spring yesterday and now it feels like summer, to which we can reply, you're right.
Yes, sure. And also, Mother Nature does not own a calendar, so I also give that bit of advice as well. As we take a look at our HD Doppler radar, we've been monitoring some scattered light rain showers all across the high country this afternoon, and they're still there this evening. Now, a couple of pop-up storms here and there, and we're looking for the strongest storms to fall to the south, but as we zoom into the Front Range, you can see all of these light scattered rain showers and even isolated storms are kind of dying out as they push their way across the Front Range. To the south is where we're looking for the strongest storms of this system, and we're seeing that now between Creede, Purgatory, and Pagosa Springs. Now, coming up in my full 7-day forecast, we're going to talk more about those spotty showers tonight and storm chances tomorrow and into Friday, plus hot weather moving in for the weekend. I'll have details on all of that just ahead.
The mother of a man who was shot and killed by Thornton police officers wants to know more about her son's death. Police have released some information, limited at the time of the shooting, but nothing public since.
9 News reporter Ria Jha is here. And Ria, you spoke with this mother?
Yes, I did. And Thornton police say they shot at him only after he shot at them first. His mother says the coroner told her he was shot in the back 3 times. Now she's wondering what warranted that kind of a reaction.
I just see him as the Brandon I knew.
Without knowing what happened to her son when she arrived on the scene.
This is him when he was 2.
As a mother,
I think he was 13 there.
Jacqueline Zabala says she knew.
And I literally felt like falling down because I had this really weird feeling.
Thornton police say officers shot and killed 26-year-old Brandon Martinez on May 14th. Police say they were attempting a traffic stop when Martinez got out of the vehicle and ran. Then they say he fired a gun at the officers. Zabala said she didn't remember him having a gun, and neither did his girlfriend Ashley, who was with him when it happened, only his black walkie-talkie.
I asked Ashley, and she said, Jacqueline, she said, I seen his walkie-talkie, I didn't see a gun. That's just what I could go based on. I don't know for sure.
Since then, Zabala and her family say they haven't gotten a single call from Thornton police about what exactly happened.
There was 4 or 5 officers that came up to me, and I've called everybody and no one's called me back.
Martinez had an extensive criminal history, facing prison time more than once for charges of assault, theft, and more. Zabala doesn't deny that.
At no point did I feel like he should get away with any of those things. If he had a gun and he shot towards the police officers, then there's consequences.
Guilty or not, Zabala says as his mother, she has a right to know.
It would give us peace and it would give us closure so that we just know, this is what happened and live on with what we have with Brandon now.
When police stopped Martinez last month, his mom says he was clear and had been home for 6 months. She says it was the longest amount of time he'd been home after being in and out of jail for the past 7 years. I reached out to Thornton Police about this shooting and they have not responded yet. Ria Jha, 9 News.
Ria, thank you. We're learning more tonight about a woman who died in a small plane crash in Steamboat Springs. 67-year-old Dan Dunn and 42-year-old Jessica Melton were both killed when their plane went down in a mobile home park Monday. Cindy Sullivan was friends with Melton, who said she grew up figure skating and put a lot of volunteer hours helping future generations of skaters.
This is a sport that takes discipline. The discipline that she carried in her life brought so much success in her life, but she wanted to make a difference. And she made a difference.
Sullivan says Melton was a businesswoman who was on her way to a meeting in Utah when her plane went down. She's survived by her husband.
Next week, Denver's voters are picking a new district attorney for the first time since 2017. There are 2 Democrats running, so they're in a primary for that open seat. John Walsh is the former U.S. attorney for Colorado and a federal prosecutor who says he's focused on community collaboration to address violent crime. He's talked about making incremental changes to the DA's office. Leora Joseph, who spent a career as a local prosecutor in Massachusetts, then Colorado, says she will change everything about how the DA's office works. Today, I asked them each which statewide issue they would look to lead on.
I would absolutely lead on the continued effort to make sure that our gun crime laws are effective and are strong enough to enable us to actually get guns off the street and to deal with people who are actually involved in violence with guns.
If there's not going to be a national ban on bump stocks, should Colorado ban them?
I think the answer is absolutely yes.
Okay. How about so-called assault weapons? There's been growing momentum amongst Democrats at the Capitol. The governor's not on board with it. It hasn't gotten across the finish line. Thoughts?
So I think we need to be thoughtful about the so-called assault weapons, and I know this from my federal experience. Defining what an assault weapon is actually a really difficult question. I think what we need to focus in on is preventing the sales of weapons that are sort of military-grade weapons that can cause incredible harm.
Joseph pointed to another issue that's been raised by Democrats at the legislature, but she made clear she does not line up with progressives at the Capitol on the issue of bond reform.
I think the number one issue that I would take on a legislative priority is bond reform. This is a critical issue that affects justice every day. We need a way that we can hold people accountable in jail before their trial, but we can't criminalize people for low bank accounts. We can't punish people differently because of socioeconomic factors.
You do hear talk at the legislature about the idea of eliminating cash bail. Thoughts?
I think we need to figure out other ways. I think we need to look at ways that you can detain or release, a catch or release system. I think we also need to look at home confinement. I think we need to look at GPS. I think everything needs to be on the table.
You can see my full 45-minute conversation with the Denver DA candidates on 9news.com and on the next YouTube page. There we talk about tackling violent crime, youth violence, and how they plan to reach out to communities of color.
Jenna Ellis, a Colorado native and former attorney for Donald Trump, has entered a not guilty plea to charges that she tried to overturn 2020 election results in Arizona. She was among the last 3 defendants to be arraigned in that state's fake electors case. During a hearing yesterday, the judge instructed her to, quote, not have any contact with any co-defendant. Ellis had already pleaded guilty to similar felony charges in Georgia, leading to her law license here in Colorado to be suspended for 3 years. Former CU visiting scholar and attorney for the Colorado GOP, John Eastman, also charged in this case. He's pleaded not guilty. He was the architect of Trump's plan to overthrow the election using Congress.
A new agreement between Russia and North Korea says they will defend each other if attacked, according to North Korean state media. This pact apparently says that if one of the countries is invaded and pushed into war, that the other must deploy, quote, all means at its disposal without delay. This comes after Russian President Vladimir Putin visited North Korea this week.
A piece about the conflict in Gaza got an artist from Denver disinvited as Vail's artist in residence. We told you about this a few weeks ago.
But tonight, that artist was in Vail, speaking at the Vail Symposium. And our photojournalist Ann Herbst was there.
I know, I've been going through a lot of stress too.
Sometimes when things get tough,
I have to get mic'd up.
it's easier to be quiet and sit in the shadows.
Okay, this is like a whole situation.
Danielle Seawalker wasn't raised to be the hiding type.
My dad was a very strong voice and person in my life who once told me, Danielle, if you don't speak up, nobody's going to do it for you.
Wednesday night, Danielle was an invited guest at the Vail Symposium.
You know, the Mother Earth, Unchimaka, Grandmother Earth provides everything for us.
She spoke about her culture and life as a Lakota woman and artist.
In this one, her mouth is sort of blacked out. I tend to do a lot of pieces where it's being censored or silenced. Interesting and ironically enough.
A month ago, Danielle was disinvited by another Vail institution, dropped from the Vail Artist in Residency program.
It's kind of an elephant in the room. You know, I'm happy that I'm here. I was supposed to actually be here creating a mural in Vail Village this week.
She'd sold a different piece of art in March that drew a connection between Native American genocide and what's happening in Gaza.
All right.
Vail's Art in Public Places said they worried about potential politicizing of the public art program.
Because I think about like how our people have been silenced and how we're continuing to be silenced.
The invite from Vail Symposium to speak still stood.
Yeah, thanks for having me here.
And the importance of having diverse conversations, even when they're not easy, makes them that more important.
Okay, so has anybody been to North Dakota? It is very not diverse. At least when I was growing up, it wasn't.
Dad would be proud that his daughter didn't lay low.
I'm the first generation born in my family who fully has the legal rights of everybody else in this country.
Danielle will always speak up.
Yeah.
So that no one pushes her message down. In Vail, Ann Herbst, 9 News.
The city of Vail said that it supported the symposium's programming, pointing out that they paid for a shuttle to the event tonight and also paid for security.